Hey everybody, and welcome to the finals of the 64 deck Premodern Super Gauntlet. I am Michael Hoyp. I'm joined today by Bob Baker. Say hi, Bob.
Hi, Bob.
And today we have our matchup between the Life combo deck, which will be piloted by Flint Espel, against the Red-Green Goblins deck, piloted by Felix Kemmler. So we have seen both these decks before, and right now I have the Life combo deck, which is trying to, as you might have guessed, gain infinite life. And it has redundant combo pieces. It needs 3 pieces to pull off the combo, but it has multiple copies and tutors to get all these pieces. So the first part is a creature that can target something for 0 mana. And that is Shaman's en-Kor and Nomads en-Kor. And then the creatures that it would be targeting would be Daru Spiritualist, which is a 2-mana cleric, and Task Force, which is a 3-mana rebel. And so when those get targeted, their toughness gets bigger. And so when you have one of the first combo pieces that I talked about, their toughness can get arbitrarily large as you want it. And then after you have that, you can sacrifice the creature with Worthy Cause. You can sacrifice either of them to gain life equal to the toughness. So that will get you infinite life. And then there is also a land, Starlit Sanctum, and that can sacrifice a cleric to gain life equal to toughness. So that one can only sacrifice the Daru Spiritualist, can't sacrifice the Task Force. And then kind of the rest of the deck is there's some tutor effects with Eladamri's Call and Living Wish, which could get either a creature or the Starlit Sanctum, because it can get creatures or lands. And then there's a little bit of disruption with Cabal Therapy. So what are your thoughts about this deck, Bob?
We've watched this deck play a couple different times now, and it's been surprisingly resilient. The combo comes together a lot more easily than you would anticipate, given it's a 3-card combo. And it does have a way to win after it gains infinite life in the form of, I believe it's Test of Endurance,
Mm-hmm.
to just win the game on the spot. So it does. There are outs to other than just like waiting for your opponent to draw all the cards in their deck,
Yeah.
um, type of a deal. So I think this deck's surprisingly consistent. All the pieces are very redundant, so it's hard to disrupt them. And this is going to be a rough matchup for goblins.
Yeah. All the cards are like pretty cheap. They're 1 and 2 mana. So if you can wait to keep all the cards in your hand and then play them all in one turn. So even if your
Mm-hmm.
opponent might tap out and then say, okay, I'm going to put some pressure on, and then you're just going to untap. I guess it's unlikely that you're going to be able to do it with Starless Sanctum, because that's a little bit more, a couple extra mana. But the you could potentially play 1, 2, 3, 4, with just 4 mana. You could get the combo all in one turn.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, let's jump over to the goblins list. I'm pretty much going to say the same thing that I've said about this deck. I think every time we've had it on, it's the main deck is pretty typical. The things that stand out are there are 2 copies of Hearth Charm, which I will try and remember what it does. It can destroy an artifact creature. It can give your attacking creatures +1/+0 until end of turn, or it can make a creature with power 2 or less unblockable for turn. So that's kind of a little techie, cheeky card that helps against certain matchups. And then the other standout to me is the 1 copy of Gaia's Cradle, which I haven't seen in other lists, but could be pretty exciting. There might be board positions where you kind of Goblin Lackey into Sieging Commander. You might just be able to finish them off a turn earlier because you have some Gaia's Cradle mana. But then in the sideboard, there's green cards. That's what the splash is for. There's nothing in the main deck that's green, and those are Naturalize effects and Caller the Claw.
For sure. This guy could use a Flaring Pain in this matchup, but otherwise, it's a powerful linear strategy. There's definitely worlds in which you play a turn 1 Goblin Lackey, which um, this guy is surprisingly good at.
Yeah.
Uh, but you play turn 1 Goblin Lackey and you just kill your opponent before he can go off. It is a 3-card combo on his opponent's side, so even though it is consistent, being something that where you have to play a couple of tutors to get your extra pieces and go off on maybe a turn 4 or turn 5, the Goblin deck can definitely kill you.
Yes.
The sideboard here is pretty much blank, I think.
Yeah, maybe like the Pyrokinesis might be a card that like
Now you're just never gonna play your cards in an order that makes it so that you can get blown out by pyrokinesis if you're on the other side. So
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. All right.
Yeah, so I think this is just we're just gonna see this goblin deck can win the race.
Yep.
You know?
Well, goblins are pretty good at that, so especially
That's
with
the one thing they're pretty good at.
yeah. All right. So let's get us started. So right now, both players have mulliganed to 6, and we will start our match. Okay. So we are off to the races. Flint is on the play. Starts with a Windswept Heath.
Felix immediately getting on board.
All right, let me get my.
Here comes down Mother of Ruins.
Yep. So
that's going to make it a little bit harder to get in with your turn 1 Goblin Lackey.
Yeah, it's once or usually you don't want to trade off your Mother of Runes for the. I guess it would be able to because he's on the play. He'd be able to get protection.
Yeah, he'd be able to tap it.
But
all right, traded that for a Monk Fanatic. That seems pretty good to me for Felix.
Yeah, I guess that's your only opportunity to do that, pretty much. So.
Yeah, I think an active Mother of Ruins is going to be a nightmare for a Goblins player. So.
Yeah, pretty much you have to go wide, and because you're not going to go through it very often.
I mean, he wants to go wide anyways, but it's just it slows you down so much in the first couple of turns. So.
All right, we got another Windswept Heath, and we're fetching right away to play Daru Spiritualist. So this one kind of has Daru Spiritualist. This one has a little bit of built-in protection against like damage spells.
Wait.
Oh, no,
there's a different card on the table now.
All right, we backed up. Trying again. This is a Shaman's en-Kor.
I'm in en-Kor.
So let me bring this one up. So this is a 2-mana 1/2, and then the more important ability is that first one. Okay, so there's 2 lackeys.
See, this is where that turn 1 Mother Ruins was a huge deal, right? Like, man.
Yeah. So going back to the Shaman, so the most important ability is that top one, is that it has the 0 mana redirect 1 damage to a creature which targets, and so it can target one of the other creatures and give the infinite toughness to like a Daru Spiritualist. Which I will bring up, which it looks like is in play now. So
and he has a worthy cause.
Yep.
So this is infinite life.
Yes. So here is what the deck's trying to do.
Casual infinite life, and Felix has seen enough.
Yep. All right. I guess I don't have to change my life counter to an arbitrary large number.
Yeah.
So they're playing a best of 5, so they're not going to sideboard. So I can kind of just.
But this is what I was saying before about like, you know, it's a 3-card combo, but it just feels like they always have it because all the cards are so redundant. In that case, he literally just went, you know, turn 2, turn 3, kill you on turn 4. Well, it's not even kill him, obviously, but you know, the game was as good as over. Like we said before, there's not really any way that Felix can beat an arbitrarily large life total. So
correct. Okay, let's jump to our next match. So here, my notes say Flint has mulligan to 6. So.
Now, here's a question: if after we sideboard, is it? Oh, okay, Skirk Prospector.
So are you talking about adding cards so you don't get decked? Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, that, but also if Flint can only kill you instantly with Test of Endurance, that wins on upkeep, right?
Yeah.
So you could, in theory, bring in some Naturalizes, and like take out your fetch land type of, you know what I mean, and try to just like let him combo off and then take out his Test of Endurance.
Yeah, I mean it's it's arguable that you could do something. The problem is like you with Living Wish, there's a Genesis in the sideboard, so you like let's say you have infinite life. Okay, I'm just gonna if you get Genesis, you go to hand size, you discard it, then you get another Living Wish for Monk Realist, and you can loop like Monk Realist and you have Cabal Therapy to sacrifice the Monk Realist. It gets back the enchantment, so you can Cabal Therapy to get rid of Naturalize. Like it's a possibility. But Flint has ways around it. So.
All right.
So the first Cabal Therapy named Goblin Piledriver, and that hit. We saw the other cards with a Mogg Fanatic, a Skirk Prospector, and a Goblin Ringleader.
And Piledriver makes sense to me. It's going to be the card that deals you the most damage the quickest.
Mm-hmm.
In hands that don't involve a turn 1 Goblin Lackey.
Yeah, and sometimes like when someone leads with like a Skirk Prospector, you think like the texture of a Goblin's hand is going to be a lot different than if they just lead with Lackey. I think you name Siege and Commander, you're a lot more likely to name it, but you're not as worried about Siege and Commander if they're leading with a Skirk Prospector.
Absolutely. So we got Flint down at 17 here, taking a good chunk of damage off of City of Brass.
Well, one was the City Brass, 2 was from the War Chief, so we're seeing...
he's taking 2 off that City of Brass.
Okay. You said a good...
I would say that's a good chunk of damage.
Okay, all right. Now we can go a good chunk. All right, this one is naming Mogg Fanatic.
He must have Mother of Runes in his hand then, I would guess.
Or if he just preemptively wants to run out like a Nomads en-Kor, yeah.
Okay.
So this one is similar to the one that we saw last game, but it just is a 1-mana 1/1 and doesn't have a second ability, but Flint doesn't really care that much about that. So one thing that we didn't talk about is Wasteland is a card that interacts with one part of the combo. Like it's not necessarily, and it's not all the time, because if Starlit Sanctum is being used, then you might be able to get a spot where if they are really tight on mana and they have to like pass turns, because obviously if you just have everything you do in one turn, they're not going to be able to respond to it. Like you keep it in your hand, but the Wasteland could take out a Starlit Sanctum and maybe interact that way. All right, so we're adding a Skirk Prospector to the Goblins board.
Interesting. I think I probably would have played that Goblin Ringleader, but
I mean, I have to think that he's intending to use the Wasteland then.
Yeah, I still think I might have played the Ringleader because I don't. In a world where I don't think you're going to win a game where, like, because now he has to draw a land to play that Ringleader or cash in a Skirk Prospector for it. That just feels like a losing board position to me. I could be wrong.
Well,
but
if you're interpreting what Flint is doing with his last turn, though, if he's like willing to play that card out, does it kind of tell you that he doesn't have mana? Because otherwise, he would keep it in his hand to just play everything in one turn.
Possibly, but I'm never. I mean, like maybe it's a thing you have to do in this matchup, but I'm never a big fan of the attack somebody's lands at the expense of my own game plan and hope to mana screw them line. It looks like it's working out here, so that's good.
So Flint took the opportunity on his turn. He flashed back the Nomads or the Cabal Therapy, sacrificed the Nomads en-Kor. He named Goblin Ringleader and put that into play. And so here we have so the Starlit Sanctum has come down, and there's the Shaman's en-Kor, yeah. So here we have a Gempalm Incinerator with 3 goblins in play, so that's enough to take down the 1/2. And that'll clear the way. And so the life total of the life deck is getting dangerously low.
It has a Prospector, yeah. So he could still play another card here.
So that attack was for 4?
Yep. Yeah, we got Flint down to 6 here.
Yeah. So he really only needs one more point of goblin attacking damage, because the Mogg Fanatic could finish him off. That's the case.
Mm-hmm.
So things look pretty good, I guess, from Goblin Perspective.
I don't think there's anything that Flint could have here, like assuming that Felix draws a single point of damage or more to stop him from dying.
Yeah, and another ringleader should do it.
Yeah.
It is enough.
That's a war chief. Yeah, he had a bunch of green cards in his hand.
Okay.
Makes sense.
So yeah, the City Brass dying was a pretty big deal.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's like I said, it's not a line that I particularly like on average, but it worked out here. And I would guess that Felix probably has a better understanding of what's going on than I do, given that he's been playing this deck for a little bit longer than I have. So
yeah,
it's possible that that's like his his highest percentage line, even if it's maybe not the best line, as a heuristic, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. So we talked about sideboard a little bit, but is Naturalize a card that you're thinking of bringing in, or do you think it's just better to have your deck be streamlined and go for it?
I don't know if there's any card in my deck that I really care about taking out. Like I said,
Goblin Tinkerer is not very good. I don't think there are any.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's kind of still better than like a random Naturalize, right? Naturalize doesn't stop your opponent from gaining infinite life. It does stop them from winning with Test of Endurance.
Yeah, I don't think that's a fight you want to fight. I don't think it makes it makes a difference.
So, if that's the case, then well, I mean, if you really did want to fight that fight and you knew your opponent had Genesis as an out, you could also bring in a Tormod's Crypt, right?
Yeah.
To like crypt away the test, you could do that. I don't know if that makes your win percentage better, right? Like at that point, you're.
Yeah, even the situation I talked about, like, I still don't think Tormod's Crypt is enough. Like, Flint just buying it back once is probably enough. I guess you're like trying to get the. I guess you're trying to get the test of interest.
Yeah, you get the test or the Genesis or the Monk.
Yeah,
any one of them. You only have to get one of them, right?
I'm not buying it though, but okay.
Yeah, I mean, but like I'm just saying, like I don't know if it's a good plan, but it is a plan. The other plan is just hope that your draw is fast enough.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know which of those is better, but I could believe a world exists where bring in all of your Disenchants and Tormod's Crypts is,
I think I would bring in Pyrokinesis before any of the Disenchant effects. I think I think more likely to get even like a Birds or maybe like.
Yeah, sure. You can bring them all in.
And Flint might be. I mean, we saw him run out the Nomads one, like kind of naked, as we'll call it. So.
Sure.
And
honestly, not unreasonable just to shovel all 15 cards in your main deck and say, let's play.
All right, and we'll look at Flint's list and looking at the sideboard. So this does have a Wish sideboard, so a lot of the cards are targets for Living Wish. So I think he's going to want to keep those in the sideboard. So a card like Starlit Sanctum or Daru Spiritualist or Nomads en-Kor, those are going to stay in there. So it's an Auramancer. I think I said the Monk Realist or whatever the Spiritualist. I don't remember.
So the question is, does he want to bring in Orim's Chant?
Is there? I mean, what is the worst card in his main deck?
Cabal Therapy, but like not by much.
Yeah, I think. I mean, Orim's Chant seems fine.
Academy Rector, maybe, I guess you could take out. Because you could still wish for the one in your sideboard.
Yeah. Yep. That makes sense.
I mean, Orim's Chant seems okay. Buying an attack step doesn't seem. I don't know. I don't know that I would sideboard anything if I was Flint.
Okay. All right. So let's jump back over to our match. I will adjust to skip ahead to where we start. And we can see game 3. So, I mean, nothing really changes. It did in the cyber game, so I guess we still have to think that the life deck is an advantage. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like, I think it's the same story, unless Felix has decided he wants to try to go as deep as possible and try to win by decking Flint, I think we're in the same position we were before, where sometimes Felix is going to be quick enough, and sometimes he's not, and he's probably not going to be quick enough at least 60% of the time.
Yeah.
So I think it's probably not very lopsided, but it definitely, he's definitely a dog.
All right. Birds of Paradise is sniped by a Mogg Fanatic.
Classic. That's classic magic right there, baby.
That is true. Yes.
Baby.
It's, I guess, technically not before bolting the bird, but I feel like when I started playing, you Mogg Fanatic to Bird of Paradise a lot more than bolting it.
Heck yeah. What's wild is that like one of these cards would still be highly playable if it was printed in Standard, and the other one would only kind of sort of be playable.
I hope you're.
Birds of Paradise has fallen a long way. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, I guess technically in Standard right now, I think Gilded Goose is just better than Birds, but yeah, Monk Fanatic with the damage on the stack is a lot less powerful than it used to be. Yeah. But still holds its own in this format, I think. A lot of the creatures are just very small, when today's creatures just don't have 1 toughness very often.
Yeah, it's true. All right, well, we got 2 Skirk Prospectors here, so maybe he could cast a Mogg Ward Marshal and really go off, but I don't think that's illegal in this format.
No.
I do have to say that the fact that Flint still hasn't swapped out to Goblin Mountains, or Felix has not swapped out to Goblin Mountains, if he loses this match, I think that's going to be the biggest contributing factor.
The reason. So yeah. I have a question about like Prospector. Is that just a title, or does it have any rank, like in the mining world?
No, it's just like a guy who digs for gold and stuff. Is called a prospector.
It's not like the captain of the mining team kind of thing. Okay.
No,
I didn't. I just want to know when there's 2 prospectors in play, if there's like a little bit of an issue, if they're kind of battling for the same title. I don't know.
I mean, if it depends on if they're getting into each other's claims or not,
Yeah, I mean, it's you don't know what to do when they're. Ooh, we got a guy's cradle.
Siege gang.
Oh, Goblin War Chief. So there's
2 green mana floating. Piledriver, 1 green mana floating.
All right, so far the guy's cradle was just a basic land.
It made 2 mana.
Yeah, but it
got burned away, but it made 2 mana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This attack is for.
Yeah, that's a good chunk.
Yeah, that's a good chunk. It's better than a good chunk, because a good chunk was
a good chunk was 2. It was.
That's a hefty swing.
Okay. Well, we'll have to figure out our hierarchy of life total.
All right, we got Living Wish here.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, when you're attacking for 2, like any amount is a good chunk. Even 1's a good chunk when you're attacking for 2.
Sure. Gotta get him dead somehow. Living Wish. What did he get?
It looked like he got Starlit Sanctum.
He got a backup.
It looks like.
I don't know if he's more worried about Wasteland or if the colorless mana is enough.
Well, he had the read because here came the Wasteland.
Okay.
Here's 8 more.
Yeah, this is a quick clock. I mean, if Flint wasn't killing him last turn, I don't think he's going to be able to do anything this turn.
Sounds true. Sounds absolutely true.
All right. Here's a bunch
had all these.
Here's a bunch of white cards that I can't cast.
Still had all these.
He should have boarded out a City of Brass was the answer, and then he would have been unable to Living Wish for 1.
Yeah. If you're gonna put Living Wish in your deck, you should put a land in your sideboard to help you not get mana screwed sometime. That's just like Living Wish 101.
I mean, he got a Starlit Sanctum.
Yeah, I mean that doesn't make color, man. You got to put a sweet one in there. It can't just be Starlit Sanctum.
All right.
Put a Treetop Village in that bad boy.
That would help you cast those white spells.
I'm just saying, like, he had green spells in his hand too. I'm just saying, like.
Yeah. Okay.
Fine. Put a man. What's the name of that? What's the white man land? The 1/5 Vigilance.
Forbidden Watchtower.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Slam a Forbidden Watchtower from that bad boy.
All right. Let's jump to our next game before everyone leaves. All right. So at this spot,
People want to hear about my sweet Forbidden Watchtower technology?
Ooh, people probably do want to hear about it. Sweet technology. Flint has once again mulliganed to 6. He's on the play though, so he's looking to hopefully outpace the Goblins deck.
I will say that this does put breaking serve like that is great for Felix because it puts him in on the play if there's a fifth game.
Yep, and a Goblin Lackey could do it. So
okay, he's just gonna upkeep Orim's Chant.
Yeah.
No Goblin Lackey. So Flint did decide to bring in the Orim's Chant.
Okay.
It's good to know.
Let's bring that one up.
I'm not sure 100% if I agree with that, but you know.
Well, I mean, the main idea of this card in the sideboard is against like combo decks. Is it's something to that they have to counter because otherwise your spells are going to be able to resolve. And it does have a kicker ability to where like sometimes against creature decks, like against an elves deck, if they're planning on casting Overrun, it's pretty good against those decks too. And like you can just use it as a fog effect against some of the decks. And so it's I mean. Like I don't think it's insane, but I think it definitely holds its weight. And here, like just preventing your opponent from casting a Goblin Lackey could be enough.
I agree that it's pretty good here on turn 1. It's I don't think it's a bad card. I just don't know if I don't know if it like improves your game plan. I don't know if it makes you better at winning than just being better at comboing off.
I guess I guess we have to see what cards he was taking out.
Sure. Yeah. But, I mean, if he took out like Academy Rector, that's probably fun. You know what I mean? Or how many he brought in or whatever. But if you take out anything that makes your deck slower, I don't think I'd like it.
All right. So we see a turn 2 Mogg Fanatic and a Wasteland.
Another Wasteland.
All right. Well, I mean, I think the second and third game, Wasteland has been pretty pivotal. So,
yeah, I mean,
or mana. Maybe the last game it wasn't. It was just the Birds of Paradise that died.
Yeah. Ruh-roh Raggy, no green mana.
We've seen this before.
Yeah.
All right.
He's got a handful of green cards, I bet.
So I wonder, I don't know if like Flint had the option, but like maybe you needed to lead with Starlit Sanctum as compared to Brushland. But I guess you do have a lot more green sources than you do Starlit Sanctums in your deck.
It's true.
So I guess
it's not exactly a blistering fast draw from Felix either, though. So it's not like
that's true.
Assuming that he has another land and is able to cast the spell next turn, I don't think he's out of it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He's got 2/3 of his combo. He could just have like Nomads en-Kor in his hand and draw a plains and then, basically win the game.
Well, he still needs a cleric.
Yeah, I'm saying like, he could play 2 mana for Spiritualist, 1 mana for Nomads en-Kor.
Yeah,
and then,
okay.
Like, just be there.
Yeah.
Once you have both of the monsters in play, they can't kill it.
Yep.
Because you can make one arbitrarily large and then redirect all the damage to it.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, Goblin Piledriver joins the team, but he'll
Spiritualist.
So that one is safe from a Mogg Fanatic activation.
Yes. Even if he blocks, it's still safe, right?
No, it's a 1/1.
Oh, okay, it's a 1/1. I thought for some reason I thought it was a 0/2, but
it does kind of feel like that, but probably because it says +0/+2 on the card.
Yeah, it just feels like a 0/2 in my brain, but I'm old now. I don't remember Magic cards in the same way I used to.
Yeah.
I never had the just like weird encyclopedic knowledge that you had, but
I spent all my time just looking at Magic cards instead of studying for school, I guess.
Yeah, one time at a PTQ back in the day when those were a thing, we were just like wandering around in between rounds, and some kid had this like weird land that was in a language that nobody could read, and everyone was trying to figure out what it was. And Mikey just walks up and he's like, "Oh, that's Winter Moon Mesa, and this is what it does." I don't know what Wintermoon Mesa does to this day, but I do remember the name of that card because of that incident.
That's because it was in my my magazine. It's like one of the top 10 worst cards. Actually, I mean, like in terms of, I mean, I don't think it's a good card, but I mean, I don't think it's the worst card. I think there are way worse cards than this, but I'll bring it up.
All right, we're gonna cycle the Spiritualist, or the Incinerator to kill the Spiritualist. We get to 3, so that works. Story checks out.
Yep.
Draw a card, and this is for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So,
like, can't you see like a deck with like a bunch of mana where like it needs to force through a spell that like tapping 2 lands could be relevant? This is not the worst card. All right, how much damage did you take?
I took
5.
4.
4.
4.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
So he's down to 14. Yeah, he missed another land. So I think we're in trouble now.
Yeah. Especially like this could be like ringleader time.
Yeah, any number of things. Could just like.
Okay, here's a war chief. And just sending for
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
11, but he's effectively at.
Yeah, this he can. Felix can take him to 1 here.
Yeah. So. Flint would need like. I don't even know if he has outs right now. If he had like a plains and he had cards like. I don't know.
If he played a plains.
No, I don't. He's shown all his cards.
Yeah, he must be
dead.
Yeah, is that a Nomads? So he actually did have the win. He just was a land. He was a land away.
Yep.
But if one of the cards in his hand had been Orim's Chant, and he drew a white land, he could Orim's Chant and then draw the other piece of the combo to go off.
Oh, okay. Well, you need 2 white to kick the Orim's Chant.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So he still would have been short.
Yeah.
So.
Did anyone have Wintermoon Mesa on their bingo card? That's the real the real question.
Yeah.
At least one time every time we do a cast, there's some random card that we talk about. So.
Yeah, I mean you got to talk about random cards. Otherwise, what's the point?
Yep. So, I think they showed how they sideboarded momentarily. Otherwise, I took notes on what they did. Flint had taken out 1 Test of Endurance, 1 Academy Rector, and 1 Mirri's Guile, and brought in the 3 Orim's Chant.
Sure. I could see taking Mirri's Guile. I forget that the card's in there.
Yeah. There still is another copy, I think, too. I think there were 2.
Yeah.
And Felix brought in the 2 Pyrokinesis and a Goblin King.
Yeah, so you can go matron for king. Wow!
He originally took out 1 Ringleader, 1 Matron, 1 Tinkerer, and then in the last game he had -2 Ringleaders, -1 Tinkerer. So he brought a Matron back in. So
does he have more than 1 Test of Endurance in his deck, Flint?
No. I think the idea is
Ooh. So if you know that he's gonna board it out, then you don't even have to bring in the Naturalizes. You just have to bring in the Tormod Scripts.
You just have to bring an extra card, is that what you're saying?
No. Yeah, you bring in some Tormod Scripts so you can get his Genesis, and then you just deck him.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, like you might just be able to like Mother of Ruins and like attack for 1 over and over and over.
How is he gonna? You have so many guys.
You have infinite life. Your Mother of Ruinsing to protection from red and attacking for 1.
You're never going to be able to Mother of Runes enough to get around an active Siege Gate commander.
Yeah, because you have the combo. You can redirect all damage to like an infinitely large toughness guy. Like you re-combo, like you re-get the pieces. I mean, if you want to, I'm pretty sure that the life deck would be able to find a way to win. So if it had infinite life and didn't have Test of Endurance, it's not.
Did you say that life finds a way?
Yes. So. That's a good way to end it. Okay, so the winner of the 64 deck Super Gauntlet is the Red Green Goblins list, which is piloted by Felix. So congratulations to him. It it was kind of cool to see all the decks. I feel like a lot of the ones that actually Bob you saw was with this Goblins deck. So
yeah, I mean, Goblins is definitely the good guy.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think if I were going to play this deck, I would make maybe just one or two small changes. The most important of one, obviously, you got to put the Goblin Mountain in.
Yeah.
Just you win the tournament without the Goblin Mountain. Imagine how far you could go with the Goblin Mountain. I'm just saying,
All right. Well. Okay, so I can't add anything to that. I'll be honest. All right. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in, and thank everyone for watching part of these series. Thanks to Mike Arnold and Flint Espel for organizing this. Thanks to the 8 players that participated. We had a lot of fun, and it was pretty cool. So, is there anything you want to add, Bob?
No, I think I've said my piece. Play the Goblin Mountain, and I'll respect you more as a person.
All right. Until next time, guys, take care.
Take care. Be good.